Hello and welcome to Empowered the Podcast. I am your host, Linda Brand. I am a certified life coach. I'm a mom, a dog mom, and someone who overcame a lot of challenges in my life. I've been on the journey a long time, and I created this podcast so I could help as many people as I can. It is my intention with this podcast is to help you, inspire you, and motivate you to believe that you can have, be, and do anything you desire. This podcast is about abundance, spirituality, health, and wellness, because let's face it, without your health, you have nothing. This podcast is about you becoming a better you. So let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Empowered the Podcast. I'm your host, Linda Brand. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back. I know you have so many things that you can listen to, and it means so much to me that you're here. Today, I have two special guests I am so grateful to have here today. I was honored to be able to be in their 3-day workshop, their very powerful workshop recently, and I'm so excited to share their journey and story with you and what they're doing in the world. Theresa and Ariel Eversole are certified mother-daughter coaching team. They specialize in mother-daughter relationships. They are the co-founders of the women's coaching and mentorship company called Impact and Empower Incorporated. And also they are Amazon #1 bestselling co-authors of the book Unstoppable Volume 2. After meeting with countless women who struggled with mother-daughter conflict and had deep-rooted mother wounds, Theresa and Ariel decided to join forces and use their personal experience with mother wounding healing to help other mothers and daughters. Now the mother-daughter duo is on a mission to help women uncover the root cause of their mother-daughter conflict, heal their mother wounds, and break harmful generational patterns. When Theresa and Ariel aren't helping women heal, the two enjoy outdoor adventures like hiking, kayaking, and exploring caves. Welcome to the show, Theresa and Ariel. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Theresa, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about how you started in this healing and what happened that, you decided to go this, coaching and all the self-development, and just usually there's a back to why people start in the healing journey, on the healing journey.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it's always been my passion. I've always had a way with helping people just feel good about themselves, and just always showing up for others and listening and wanting to help. So really, it started from there, where I wanted to help women overcome tragedy and trauma, because I experienced a traumatic childhood that left me with a lot of wounds, which nowadays you all hear it as the mother wound. And I don't like to use that term, but unfortunately, that's what it is. And I unknowingly passed those wounds down to my children, which was very tragic that I even had to do that, but I did. And even though I showed up better for my children, better than my mother did show up for me, I still showed up as a wounded mother. So of course I'm going to pass those down, because that's all I knew. So really admitting and forgiving myself for it was probably the hardest thing in my healing journey. So there's different phases, and that was probably the hardest to get through, right? You have to admit what you've done wrong and that you were wounded to be able to carry on. So what happens is our ego, it really has a way of stepping in when we're trying to heal. And it ends up throwing up all kinds of barriers, because it's really difficult to confront those uncomfortable truths about yourself. But really, if you want to heal, you have to get past that. You have to be able to put that ego aside and say, okay, I'm gonna get through this and past that. So what ended up happening and started Ariel and I's journey together on this actual healing journey was a family tragedy in 2017. So with my daughter on my side and the two of us learning and growing and healing together, we became so much stronger as women. We got empowered extremely. And It was the most beautiful and loving and thing that we had ever done together, for actually for ourselves and together. And we wanted to share it and help it with other women. So
Beautiful.
that's my side.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, yes. So,
And I can go
Ariel,
ahead and share my side too.
sure.
Um, and so, my mom started coaching in 2019. She just felt a really strong pull to it. And at that time, she had asked me, she's like, "Do you want to do this with me?" And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I am a very compassionate and empathetic person, always giving people advice and whatnot. But, I was kind of like really in the thick of my career. And so I was like, oh, maybe not right now. But as she progressed and, I ended up deciding to come on board with her and her coaching business because I was seeing a lot of transformation and hearing about all the women that she was helping. And, it's pretty amazing when, somebody says, wow, you changed my life. And so, I was like, maybe I'm going to get on board with this. And so, we kept seeing all these women, right? They each had this same foundational core mother wound, which we discovered what it was, and we're like, what is this? And so we kind of went into this exploration into this and what is this really? Because it's like all of these women have this. I had it, my mom had it. Even
And
though
I,
we had done a lot of healing. And
yeah,
so yeah, we just started getting into courses and, getting certified. And my mom trained with Rashka Hasseldine, which is a pioneer in mother-daughter relationships. And so she coached with her and learned her ways. Because again, this wasn't really a big thing. Like, not a lot of people know about this. And even therapists have a hard time with this dynamic. And so, so we decided, okay, well, this is like a big thing we're seeing. So let's go ahead and shift our focus from doing kind of the empty nest thing for moms, that have lost their passion in life. And let's switch gears and move over to the mother-daughter relationships because, we're seeing it in our coaching clients, but we see it out in the world too. I can't tell you how many people I know, friends, that have terrible relationships with their mothers and daughters. And a lot of times, people don't want to talk about it. It could be kind of a taboo still thing still. And, it brings a lot of shame and guilt because, society tells us, mother-daughter relationships are rainbows and, sunshine and
yeah,
rainbows when it's not like that, and so
not that way. Yeah, it's not that way in my life. And
yeah. So yeah, we kind of came together last year in 2023 and started this business together. And yeah, it's been a fun, wild ride so far. And we're excited to see, all the lives that we can change. So
yeah, beautiful.
And can I jump in there on that as well? And one of the other things that I think makes Ariel and I so powerful is our generational gap. Ariel really, really can focus in on the younger generation, where I can focus in on the older generation. And we'll find that the clients in my generation will ask for Ariel, like, what is your advice as a younger person to help me understand my daughter, and vice versa. So it helps us in our coaching business immensely, having that generational gap.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
100%.
Yeah, I love that. I recently got, like I said, was in your 3-day workshop and I found it super valuable. But at first, before I was like, oh, nothing's going to save my situation, which, even if it's not going to, because of how the dynamic of what's going on, it still helped me shine a light and have more awareness around what exactly is going on. Like you said, the deep rooted cause, right? Because it's like, until you're aware, self-awareness is always the number one thing. So, Theresa, are you willing to share what traumatic event happened in your life that brought this all about? I want to remind you of my free vision workshop, which is held every single month live. You can check the show notes to find out when the next one is held. You will learn 3 key secrets to achieving success in your life. I also have a pre-recorded webinar. You can choose that as well. As a Dream Builder coach, it's my job to help you achieve your dream. So do yourself a favor and grab a spot in the next free workshop. You'll thank me later.
Yeah, tough topic, but absolutely. So my son in early 2017 committed suicide, which in turn, right, rocked our world, the whole family. And it brought up a lot of my old wounds, right? All the healing that I had done in the past came flooding back to me and brought up the wounds that I thought were kind of behind me. But you find that in your healing journey, things are going to knock you off your feet. They're going to rock your world. But if you have a good foundation of healing, you can overcome such tragedies. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be painful. But again, my wounding was, right, I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough. So when he did that, right, all that flooded back in, where it was telling, those old patterns came up. See, I'm not good enough for him to stick around. I wasn't worthy enough. I wasn't lovable enough. And so you have to overcome those. And again, it was really difficult, but with Ariel beside me and us as a family doing this together, we were able to really heal. It was the most deep, intensive healing we've ever done. But I feel like, right, this really made me go to my calling, because coaching is something I always wanted to do, but I had another career and I was always like, oh, maybe later. But being able to learn what we've learned, heal the way we've healed, we thought we are some of the best people to help women heal. If we could conquer this, we can conquer anything. And we've both had some really bad tragedies that happened in our life, some shared and some not shared, that really, kept us down as women. And we thought, with both of our experiences, we have so much to offer other women, right? That we can really meet them at where they're at and bring them to where they need to be. So
Absolutely.
that's my story.
Yeah. And so out of that tragedy with my brother, we just left us just spinning for, a good couple of years. You're just floating and it's like time's going by and it's the craziest thing, and from that tragedy, it's like we found our purpose, and so in our book Unstoppable, volume 2, if you want to kind of learn a little bit more about our story and kind of how we came to be, we have a chapter in there that kind of discusses that. So that's on our website if anybody wants to check that out. But so yeah, it's just out of tragedy, things good can happen. And that's what happened in our case. And we're just so grateful that we can, like my mom said, use all those things, the bad and the negative things that have happened to us to help other women. And so I think, women that have seen they can relate to us, they just feel that much more trusting in us and our abilities, because they're like, they've been there and they know what the hell they're talking about.
Right. Right.
So it's been great.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that you found the underlying blessing in the tragedy with your brother. How old was he, if you don't mind sharing? I'm so
28.
sorry. Oh, he was a grown adult man. Oh, that's awful. Oh my goodness. Was there mental illness at all, or?
Yeah, just a little bit of everything. There was, he, first thing that unfortunately people think and believe, oh, there must be drugs involved. Not in his case. He always struggled in life. He always saw the dark side of life, always couldn't comprehend or understand why people did what they did and harmed each other and harmed animals. And he couldn't understand that. And then he was in a really bad accident when he was 14, broke his back, and was paralyzed. He ended up getting better with the surgery, but it left him with some, a concussion that caused some damage and a lot of pain. So there was a lot of factors in his in
Mhm.
his.
And I think again, like one of the biggest things is like, he was like he was a highly sensitive person. He was very empathetic, and I think just the world got to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm a highly sensitive and the world has got to me many times. I've been suicidal multiple
Right?
times.
It's hard not to let it get to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
No.
going on.
Right. When we don't understand that we're just, we're energetic spiritual beings having this human experience and, that we
Mhm.
just we internalize too many things and we tend to attach or instead of letting stuff go, which is
Mhm.
a healthier way to do things, is letting things go and knowing that nothing's what it looks like. It's all an illusion anyway. I studied the course.
Absolutely. And
I
if
studied the
I
course.
would have had this understanding that I have now, I always say, would he have done what he had done? Right. Where I could have helped him along. But I try to pull myself back from that and say, I know what I know now. I'm healed to the point where now I'm like, I can help others. Maybe I couldn't help my son, but going forward, we can help others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
you did. You helped me a lot. And even though I know a lot, it's good to always, I always say you don't brush your teeth once and you're good for a week or work out once.
That's great.
Ongoing, right? Mindset works ongoing, somatic works ongoing. And I know you do some somatic work.
Yes.
Mhm.
Tell us how you take people through the process or a little bit about where do they begin when they're having challenges? What are signs of that they have a mother wound?
Ariel,
Sure.
you want to take that?
Sure, I'll start. So again, we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but the biggest thing is awareness, right? That's key. You can't start to change anything without being aware of that it's an issue or it's a challenge or problem first. And so the big thing is awareness. And so, women that have this mother wound, you know, they're probably, starting to recognize like, you know what? I'm always angry. I'm always upset. I'm frustrated. I'm not where I want to be in life. I feel stuck. I feel unworthy. I sabotage myself. All these things. My relationships aren't going well. I can't keep a healthy, stable relationship. Or maybe same with friendships. Maybe, I'm jealous of my friends, when they have good things happen to them, right? Or, right, the obvious, right? I don't get along with my mother. I've got major conflict, right? We can't even be in the same room together. Or, you know, we're 5 minutes on to the call, a telephone call with each other, and we are at each other's throats and there's explosiveness, there's yelling, right? All of these things that come into play because that mother wound, right? That is our patterns and our programming. That wounding, that was from birth. So, when we're 0 to 7 years old, our brains are completely open. We're in that theta state. We're learning what the world is, how we fit into the world, and so we're taking on our parents' beliefs, their wounding, right? We internalize that all, their projections, right? If our mom is angry and upset and, yelling at us and blaming us for things, we're going to sit there, internalize it and be like, I'm a bad person, and I'm
Oh,
unworthy and all these things. And so, we developed this programming from birth. And so it just intensifies as we get older, right? And so those patterns, that programming, it gets outdated. And so as an adult, we're trying to live in this adult world on these old patterns and programming. And so we feel lost, we feel stuck. We're like, why can't we get ahead? We're always angry. We're not living, happy and authentically, right? And we're shutting ourselves down and, not sharing our needs and not sharing our emotions, all these
it's
things.
yeah, yeah.
So
There's a lot of people
there's
out
a
there.
lot to it, and
Yeah,
so
and
that's where we come in and help you change that programming, just like a buggy computer, right? We go in and help you update that software, which is your subconscious.
and you're
So
doing
that's
it
where, yeah.
through NLP. You're doing it through a lot of
Yeah.
different.
So we have a method that we use, and, we work with individual women and we also work with mother daughter pairs. But in both cases, we have this method and this process that we bring women through, right? Because you can't start here, right? Women see these surface level conflicts that are going on and try to change it at that level, but nothing ever happens. They spin in circles, they fight and yell, and you get nowhere. So we teach them, essentially, it's like the 5 R's, we call it. And so first is regulating, getting to regulate their nervous system so they feel safe enough to heal. Okay. And then we dig into the root cause. What's actually going on? What's that foundational root cause of what's causing all of this, right? And then we go into reprogramming the subconscious mind using techniques like EFT tapping, hypnosis, and also NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming techniques. And we do a lot of somatic work too, right? Because trauma lives in the body. And so once we find, the cause, reprogram, then we, have them learn to reparent themselves, right? Be that mom that was never there for them, because we have everything we need in within us, right? And so we just have to give ourselves what we didn't get as a little girl. And we can give it to ourselves now. We don't need anybody else to give it to us. It all comes from within. And so we help them reparent themselves, and then we help them re-empower themselves, because, right, when you're disempowered, you don't feel that you have control of your life. You kind of feel like you're a plastic bag floating in the wind, like that Katy Perry song, right? And so you're giving your power up to everything and everyone else, right? Bad things happen and you internalize it and be like, I suck, or I'm bad, or this is happening to me because of this. And it's like, no, no, no. Bad things happen in the world. People have free will. And so sometimes what they do is going to impact you and affect you, but you have to sit there and say, okay, they did that, but I can choose how I respond to that. I can either let it affect me and allow it to take my power away, or I can say, no, I'm not going to deal with this. Yes, it happened, but I'm going to keep moving forward because I'm worth it.
And
so
also,
that's kind of the process we bring them through.
Yeah. And also what we found is, and I'm going to say this from what I've learned from Rashka and other psychologists and counselors, they get two women together that are already so wounded, hot and heavy, and what they do is nothing but butt heads. And a lot of times the counselors will say, go off on your own and get your own counseling because this is just too disruptive. You're not going to get anywhere. So I learned from learning and listening to all these psychologists and these counselors what they do. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why are they just telling them to go off? Why aren't they keeping that in-house where we say, okay, Ariel and I, we take these women and we really dig into to learn each woman, right? And we watch how they interact with each other and behave with each other and treat each other. And then we go, okay, so now what we see your dynamic, what we do is we pull each woman apart and we heal them as an individual woman. So Ariel will take the daughters, I will take the mothers. And now that we know what their dynamic is, we can work on those specific things. And then we get these women empowered and healed and loving themselves. And then when we bring them back together, this magic happens. It's like we're now two healed women that can come together and create a good relationship because now we're healed, where they don't do that in counseling. So Ariel and I found this little secret sauce that, let's keep it in-house. Let's figure out where their dynamic is and then do this process. So all of it has been just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we're kind of like that intermediary to where, we have both parties, and then we come together and talk about it, and then we can go back to them and be like, this is this, right? And help them heal.
That makes total sense. Yeah. How does self-love play into all of your healing?
It's number one. I'm going to say it's the top, right? You have to love yourself, first of all, enough to want to heal. And most women have a hard time with that. So, but once they start thinking, okay, this is something that can be done. I want to know how. I mean, self-love, you have to love yourself first before anything can happen and take place.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. And I'm still on the journey. I mean, I've been doing it, and then the reparenting, that's also, do you guys know anything about the internal family systems? Are you learning about that?
Yes, with Robert Schwartz.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very
I bet.
familiar. We do parts. We do parts work, kind of. That's in that reparenting, right? The inner
Yeah.
child
You guys
work. We do
you guys
touch
have
on
it
that.
going. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you've got it all. You've got it all. Are you
Yeah.
doing affirmations? And is there any affirmation homework in some of your
Oh, absolutely. We are, you know what the beautiful thing I think with Ariel and I, we have both studied such a wide variety. A lot of counselors or psychologists, they are one, they stay on one route, right? This is what we do. We have the freedom because we're coaches to do more. So Ariel and I have studied in so many different modalities and our own healing. We've taken bits and pieces from everywhere. So we actually have so much that we offer women. We pull things and we do it based off of each woman. What is going to benefit this woman? Is it more of an IFS? Is it
incredible?
hypnosis?
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Oh
that's
yeah. Which
our.
one of you is the hypnotist, or both of you?
She does
I'm the
hypnosis. I'm the
hypnosis
only one that
practitioner.
doesn't.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
But
I've dabbled
she
a
does a
little
lot of
bit.
visualizations, though. She does a lot of visualizations and that thing and whatnot. But yeah, and so I think like what my mom was talking about, right? What our work that we do and our programs are very comprehensive, and so we get this incredible healing in these women because we're working on the body level, we're working on the mind, we're working on the subconscious
And the
and
spiritual level.
in the spirit, all of it. And so
Good.
it's just a beautiful thing to see
It
and to
is.
be part of.
Did you two have, before the tragedy of your brother, did you two have a close relationship, or did you have some challenges as mother-daughter prior?
We've always been close. And I think, again, that came from my childhood. When I decided to have children or when I wanted children, I wanted to have the best relationship with my children. So it was my number one priority to do what and have and give what I didn't have. So when I had my daughter, I gave her everything that I didn't get. And I really worked on carrying a relationship with her. And I think the number one thing was letting her be who she was and just kind of loving her no matter what, where she was at, who she was, what her
Being
likes and
supportive.
dislikes were.
Yeah.
And I think she's always been like my person. And I'm
Yeah. Are
blessed.
you yeah, are you divorced or
I'm married. I've been with my current husband, not her father, but I've been with my current husband for 35, let's see, Ariel's 30, so 37 years. So
And I'll talk more to that too, right? My mom and I, we have had a good relationship always. And I think too, because, right, we've relied on each other,
was it
a
just you
lot.
and your two kids, the boy and girl?
yeah,
Yeah. And I have a stepbrother and sister, for my stepdad, but who's pretty much raised me since I was one. But,
Oh,
there was wounding, from things from, my biological father and from, my stepfather. There was things, in those relationships and again, right. My mom chose those men as she was wounded. Right. And
right.
so I don't want to get into all the
Right.
details of it, but there was wounding and there was anger with my mom. It's like, yes, we had this great relationship, but I did carry some anger towards my mom. You know what I mean? Like, why did you do this? Or
or
why did you
why
hurt
didn't
this
I?
person? Or yeah,
Right.
different scenarios, and so, there was that deep-seated wounding there
Yeah.
for
And that's
me.
what I had to overcome, right? When I
Mhm.
heard these things, right, I knew in the back of my mind, right, how my relationship was and that, maybe it wasn't the healthiest and my old wounds carrying with me. But when I heard it from her and realized what had happened, right, that's where that ego again comes in and takes hold. And it's very painful to hear how you did wound your child. So Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
difficult.
Well, there's two things I want to say. One is, you had such great intentions, like I did, of being a loving, supportive mother to Ariel and your son, because you wanted them to have what you didn't have. And
Mhm.
I feel that way with my son. I always was super loving and always put him first and always giving him what I didn't have, but like I still was a flawed being and I still
Mhm.
made mistakes and I still wounded. And he's, now 26 and different things and, remembers stuff. But I mean, there's the abundance of good is amazing, but I wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And then I wanted to, I was wounded. I am still wounded, and I'm not afraid to say it because I'm very vulnerable and honest. And something else in your workshop that you said that I'll never forget, and I feel thankful to you for this. And I just shared it with somebody like yesterday, and it was when I was discussing what happened to me, I said, I know others had it worse. And you said, never say that again, because it was
Yeah,
discounting what happened to me. And I really appreciate that. It means a lot because that
good.
is something that I personally, I had challenges growing up a lot. And then, yeah, it's like that thing where like, oh, but they had it so much worse, or they were, their parents were on drugs and alcohol and taking them to, and I was like, well, I didn't have it that bad. But I appreciated you saying that. And
Yeah, good.
if you want to touch on that and why you said that and what
Right. Yeah, because right as women, and as it starts when we're very, very young, we as women are taught to sacrifice ourselves, to put ourselves, below everybody else, and to have our emotions kind of squashed, and that to be quiet, to be that good little girl. So as we become older, we tend to do that to ourselves. Oh, well, it's not so bad. It's everybody else has it worse. So we discount our own emotions, our own feelings, what we think, what we want. And we feel like, oh, it's not as bad, but it's our world. And it was bad and it hurt and it was painful to us. It doesn't matter what happened to the other part of everybody else. It's our world and it hurt us. We're the ones having to deal with that pain. And nobody can feel the pain of what we're going through. Nobody can. So when
Mhm.
we discount it, we're basically saying we're not good enough to feel this way. And
Mm,
so I don't like to hear women say that. It like hurts me. It's like, yeah, you had pain, you had stuff happen to you that affected your whole life. And we have to stop saying that as women. I want women to be empowered and say, no more. I had it shitty. And
right.
it was tough. It was really rough on me and it screwed up my life. But guess what? I get to take that back now and I get to say, all right, I had it bad, but I'm going to have it better now in the future.
Yeah. I
And I
think
want
there's,
to add something too.
yeah,
I
go ahead.
could.
Yeah.
And another thing, right? When our mothers carry these mother wounds, part of that is invalidating the daughter from a very young age, even into adulthood, right? daughter
Guilty.
will share daughter will share something very vulnerable, mom, I'm having struggling with this or this is going crazy in my life. And what does the mom do? She shuts it down and say, well, I had it worse, I had this, right? And so a lot of women have their experiences, have their emotions invalidated from a very young age into adulthood. And so they're programmed like that, right? That their emotions doesn't matter. And so like you saying that phrase, right? Maybe that happened with your mom, right? You were invalidated a lot. And so you had that belief, well, others have it worse than me.
Mhm.
You kind of maybe gaslight yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Do
I
that a
didn't do
lot.
that to Ariel, but I definitely taught her how to silence herself to the man. Let's stay quiet. Let's behave. Let's this so that things will stay okay. Right. So I
Mm.
taught her that growing up because that's what I knew. Right. Let's not rock the
Society
boat.
teaches that too. It's not just you. I mean,
Yeah.
so, but
We
the
all
mother,
do.
yeah, the role model for sure. But like,
Absolutely.
um, Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, there's good and bad that we get from our parents, and I think,
Mhm.
I guess what I trained myself is to look at the positives and try to be grateful for what I did have and what, because things
Mhm.
could always be, worse, but it still is what it is, like the pain and the suffering and the traumas and stuff like that. And like with women, especially being, just starting out with an uphill battle with the patriarch and all the things, like being like
Mhm.
servant mentality. Everybody else gets, you're here to serve others. And, like even
Mhm.
watching my mother, like she didn't eat, you know, like the last piece of pizza, maybe she had one, like she just always gave to her kids, and she was a martyr in that way. And just like didn't,
Mhm.
I watched her not take care of herself at all,
Mhm.
physically, and just taking care of everybody else. And perhaps maybe she enjoyed some of that, but it's not how I would want to, live or, do.
And
Um, but
and I was gonna say, and so, and that right there, what you just said, that's like the crux of it all, right? That is
Mhm.
why mothers and daughters fight, because we are so self-sacrificing and we self-abandon, right? We are meeting everybody else's needs and not our own, and so we're looking outside of ourselves to our daughters or whoever else to try to fill those needs, and we're
mhm,
not getting those met. And so we get frustrated and we have this resentment, right? We're not being seen, we're not being heard, we're not being understood. And so mothers and daughters, they want each to be that, right? They both want to be seen, both heard, understood, have
Mhm.
their needs met, right? And we are conditioned and trained to give and put everybody else above ourselves. And so that is like one of the main reasons why mothers and daughters have conflict, because when they're yelling and arguing, they're trying to show, what they're needing, and they're not listening. They're listening, you know what I mean, to get their needs met, not listening just to know what the situation
yeah.
is,
You asked an interesting question too in the workshop that I thought was, I would like to know how that helps. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but one of the questions at the beginning was why you chose to have children, like,
Or why
and
you chose to be a mother.
or why you chose to be a mother. Sorry, that's a
Mhm.
better way to say it. Yeah, and it's very interesting because I'm pretty positive it was just what women did when my mother got
Mhm.
married, children. It's just kind
Yeah, we don't
of
think
that.
about those things, right? Did
Yeah,
you ever think about that?
I mean, I didn't have the right. I mean, a lot of little girls, they're like thinking about their weddings and, like, and maybe they've always wanted to be a mommy and they played with dolls and baby dolls and, but for me, no, I don't really recall any of that, as a child. Just, I think I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a model. And, I remember playing outside. I mean, I feel like I had a good childhood up to like 12, and then we moved, and then just trying to fit in, and then getting in with the wrong crowd, and then not having proper parenting and supervision, and just being the youngest, and they were just busy with everybody else, and I just went out and got in a lot of trouble, and then my whole life just, I just feel grateful to be alive, but yeah, a lot of mother wounding over here. Not to sound, but yeah, I definitely I love that you guys are you're skilled in like every modality and that you can hope, you know. So is the one-on-one like is it you have like 3 months or
Mhm.
like different.
Yep. So we have one-on-one program for women, that are suffering from that mother wounding and need to be re-empowered and heal those wounds. And so we do have a 12-week program, as well as a 16-week program. It just really depends, kind of, if they've come in with already some healing. Like if someone like you were to come in, you
Yeah.
already have a lot of healing under your belt. We'd probably recommend a 12 week. But if
Mhm.
a woman really she's just starting her healing journey, it would probably be a minimum of that 16 week. And then same for the 2-on-2, because we do see mother-daughter pairs as well. And that's also a 16-week program. So, and that's like a 26 sessions. So it's, mom and daughter both get 10 sessions individually, and then we bring them together at the end for 6 sessions.
That's incredible. It's a great niche.
Yeah. And then, so we're excited. So in October, I think we're going to open up and launch a new group coaching program. So we've got that in the works. And then we're also going to be doing a mother-daughter retreat next year in Sedona, probably in September. So yeah, we've got lots of stuff going on and ways to help. And we do workshops and master classes. So, if somebody, can't invest, in coaching, and they can come in for the workshops and master classes to kind of start.
Yeah, that's incredible. Is there let's think, what else I would want to ask? Well, where can people find you?
Sure, absolutely. So you can find us on our website. It's www.impactandempower.com. You can also find us on Instagram at Impact and Empower. And we are also going to be giving your listeners $50 off of the workshop that you attended, the Understanding Mother-Daughter Conflict Workshop. So again, you can just go to our website, and you'll see that on there. And that's an on-demand course now. So they can go ahead and take that and use the code LB24 for the $50 off.
Oh, beautiful. LB24. Okay, we'll put all that in the show notes. I love the name Impact and Empower. So good. And what else? So where are you in the world?
We're in Arizona.
Oh, you are? Where in Arizona?
Prescott Valley.
Oh, okay. Amazing. I had a retreat scheduled for Sedona for September, and then I didn't have enough signups, so I'm going to reschedule. So that's so incredible. How far are you from Sedona?
About an hour.
We were there yesterday.
Yeah. It's our favorite place to be. So yeah, we were there yesterday actually with some family over at Slide Rock. It's an amazing and healing place. If you need healing, like that's the place to be. All the energy vortexes.
Oh yes, that's incredible. Beautiful. Well, thank you for all the work you're doing in the world and all that you're sharing. That's so beautiful and important. And I love the niche, and I love the work that you're doing. It's super important, super powerful.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It was lovely joining you.
Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Yes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I know you have so many choices of things to listen to. I hope it was valuable to you and you enjoyed it. If it was, please share with someone you think would benefit from listening to it. Also subscribe so you know when the next episode is. I would love a review. It would mean so much to me to grow this audience and help as many people as possible. So have a wonderful day and live empowered. Till next time, take care.